Football fans, the wait is over. The NFL season is officially here, and the Minnesota Vikings just dropped their first unofficial depth chart ahead of Monday night's opener against the Chicago Bears. You know what that means. It's time to dissect every detail, analyze every position, and figure out what this lineup could mean for the Vikings' 2025 campaign. Now, before we dive in, remember, unofficial is the key word here. Coaches use these charts to set expectations, but they're not always locked in stone. Still, depth charts give us a first real look at how the team views its roster after training camp and preseason. And with some big names like Adam Thielen and Carson Wentz in new roles, there's plenty to talk about. Let's start with the offense, because that's where fans' eyes immediately went when this chart dropped. Carson Wentz, the recent veteran acquisition, is listed as the backup quarterback behind the starter. This was expected, but it's notable considering Wentz has been a starter for much of his career. For Minnesota, this is a safety net move. The Vikings want stability behind center, and Wentz provides that. If the starter goes down, they've got a proven player ready to step in. That said, the starter still holds a firm grip on QB1, which should ease any questions about competition going into Week 1. But make no mistake, having Wentz waiting in the wings could prove critical later in the season. So what does all this mean for Week 1 against the Bears? First, it means the Vikings enter the opener with a clear plan. The unofficial depth chart shows they value stability at key positions, while also highlighting depth where it matters most. Against Chicago, the offense will lean on its established starters, but players like Thielen and Wentz provide insurance and flexibility. On defense, the rotation along the line and the speed at linebacker could be crucial in containing the Bears' offense. Special teams, too, will play a role in field position battles that often decide divisional games. For fans, the release of this depth chart is both exciting and telling. It gives everyone a roadmap of what to expect in the opener, while also sparking debates about who should start, who might be undervalued, and how the team will adjust as the season goes on. Remember, depth charts evolve. Players can move up or down based on performance, injuries, or coaching decisions. What we see now is just the first chapter in a long story. But even so, this first look sets the tone. And it shows that the Vikings are serious about competing right out of the gate. Now, on to the wide receiver position, which has its own headline. Adam Thielen, back in purple after his recent return, is slotted into a notable role. While he's not at the very top of the depth chart, he's positioned in a way that suggests the coaching staff sees him as a reliable veteran presence who can still make plays. Thielen's chemistry with this organization and his knack for finding space in crucial moments make him an asset. Younger receivers may have speed and upside, but having a seasoned route runner like Thielen is invaluable, especially in clutch third-down situations. Fans in Minnesota know just how much he means to this team, and seeing his name on the chart again feels like a homecoming. The running back situation is also worth breaking down. The starter was never really in question, but what stands out is how the depth shakes out behind him. The Vikings have clearly prioritized versatility here. The backups listed are not only capable runners, but also offer value in pass protection and special teams. In today's NFL, running back rotations are critical, and the Vikings seem prepared to use multiple backs throughout the season. If injuries pop up, this depth chart shows they're not leaning on just one workhorse. They've got layers of talent ready to contribute. That's a smart approach, especially in a league where running back durability is always a concern. Tight end is another position to watch. The Vikings list their top option clearly, but the supporting cast at the position looks deeper than in past years. Minnesota seems to be building an offense that can attack defenses in multiple ways. Having a reliable starting tight end is one thing, but having backups who can block and catch effectively gives the offense flexibility. It opens up formations, adds unpredictability, and gives the quarterback options when defenses try to take away the wide receivers. Expect the tight end group to be a bigger part of the game plan this season, especially in red zone scenarios. Moving to the offensive line, the depth chart highlights both stability and a few question marks. The starting five looks set, which is huge for continuity. Offensive line play is about chemistry, and having the same group working together makes a big difference. The backups, however, show some areas where experience may be lacking. That's not unusual. Most teams don't have a second wave of linemen with the same talent as starters, but it does mean that staying healthy is critical. If injuries pile up, the Vikings could face some challenges here. Still, as of week 1, this line looks ready to protect the quarterback and open lanes for the run game. Shifting over to the defensive side of the ball, the depth chart gives us insight into how the Vikings plan to attack opposing offenses. The defensive line, for instance, has a strong mix of veteran leadership and young talent. The starters bring power and experience, while the backups add energy and rotational depth. That rotation will be key in keeping players fresh across a long season. One thing that jumps out is the emphasis on versatility. Guys who can play multiple spots along the line. That flexibility will allow the coaching staff to mix up looks and keep offenses guessing. At linebacker, the Vikings chart highlights stability at the top, but also competition behind the starters. The leading names are familiar, players who have proven they can handle the responsibilities of calling plays, making tackles, and dropping into coverage. But the depth shows that the team values speed and athleticism in this group. In today's NFL, linebackers can't just be run stoppers. They have to cover tight ends and running backs in space. Minnesota's depth chart suggests they've built a unit designed to handle exactly that. Fans should expect this linebacker group to be active and aggressive from the start. The secondary is another area where this depth chart reveals a lot. The starting corners and safeties are set, and the Vikings clearly feel confident in their first-choice lineup. But the backups here are intriguing. Some younger names have worked their way into notable roles, showing that training camp and preseason performances did not go unnoticed. That's a positive sign for the future, because developing young talent in the secondary is always a priority. Still, the starters will be expected to carry the load in week 1, especially against a Bears offense that could test them with speed and quick passing. Special teams often get overlooked, but depth charts bring them into the spotlight. The Vikings' kicking game looks stable, with a clear starter locked in. The punter and long snapper roles are also settled, which may not sound exciting, but is crucial for consistency. Return duties, however, could be more fluid. The depth chart gives an early indication of who will handle kicks and punts. But those roles often shift depending on performance and game situations. Regardless, the Vikings appear to have capable options ready to provide field position advantages, which can quietly swing games over the course of a season. In the bigger picture, this depth chart signals balance. Minnesota has combined veteran leadership with younger talent, and they've put themselves in position to handle both immediate challenges and long-term development. The opener against the Bears will be the first true test of how well this lineup performs under pressure. Will Wentz's presence prove valuable? Can Thielen make big catches when it counts? Will the defense create turnovers and shut down Chicago's attack? Those answers start coming on Monday night. For now, though, the Vikings have given fans plenty to talk about and plenty to look forward to as a new season officially kicks off.